I got $1,000 on this Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman boxing fight. The bet I'm gonna throw down as soon as my sportsbook allows it is not what I was originally going to bet when I first heard this bout was on for Madison Square Garden. Allow me to explain my complete change of opinion. On paper, keyword paper, Hasim is going to be a way tougher opponent than Tommy Fumbles was ever going to be. For one, Hasim's dad is actually goated. Unlike Johnny Fury, Hasim Sr. is an actual world champion, KOing Lennox Lewis and fighting Evander Holyfield straight up alien style. And talking about actual sons, unlike Tommy, who is level with Jake size-wise, Hasim towers over this dude.
He's giant. He's giant.
Not only is Hasim way bigger, he's also more experienced, respectable 12-1 record, hundreds of fights, especially in the amateurs, doesn't lie about winning North Regionals like the Fury family does about Tommy. Which, as my UK lads would say, is an absolute load of bullocks. Anyway, at first, I thought Jake Paul was cooked. Dunzo, finito, over with. But then I remembered, Jake likes making money. Selling scammy financial independence courses, pumping and dumping crypto coins, and now prize fighting against mostly cherry-picked opponents while doing crap like this. Why would Jake Paul risk his boxing career against Rahman? I mean, a lot of his box office success is predicated on the fact that people hate watch him with the hope of seeing him lose. Why would he risk all that when he's barely 25 and the money train is barely leaving the station? Thankfully, I have a
very particular set of skills.
Skills that make me an expert on making fight predictions. And I found my answers when I looked at Hasim's boxing tape. All 2 video highlights that were actually on YouTube. Spoiler alert, this guy's a jabroni. A really big, oversized jabroni, which does make a difference, which I'll get to later on. But let's just run the tape. The Rock, no, not that one. This one has massive, and I mean massive holes in his game that play right into Jake's strengths. Most of all, the guy has an uncanny ability to leave his face completely unprotected. Here's an uninterrupted montage of Rahman keeping his hands low and eating punches straight to the face, courtesy of Tommy Gunn's son, Kinsey Morrison. Boom! Did I mention this guy is slow as hell? So lucky that punch missed. For the love of God, put those hands up. That's it. Finish him.
Fatality.
This is the same critique I had for Tommy, which is why I believe the Paul camp specifically singled out both these guys to be their real boxer challenge. Look, I don't need to tell you Jake is very limited in the ring. He's not gonna outbox you, however, he can outbrawl you and make you pay with his devastating right hook. Speaking of which, I know you've seen the Tyron Woodley knockout a million times, but not with these custom-made special effects. My point is, both Tommy and Hasim are absolutely allergic to defense. But there is an important difference between their fighting style. Tommy, to his marginal credit, can stick and move while inside the ring. Hasim, though, is way more stationary. The only time Hasim is moving is when he's being pressured, which automatically forces him to go on his back foot. A damn precarious position to be in when you corner yourself. Jake is gonna have ample opportunity to connect with his Marciano-like right hook. Yes, I really went there. To Hasim's constantly exposed chin. Without question. And that's his only real path to victory. Because like I said, Jake isn't gonna outpoint you unless you're gun shy, like T would, which Hasim is not. This next question is ultimately the biggest difference maker of this fight. This next question is gonna decide who wins on August 6th. This question is, will Jake's power translate against a bigger opponent? Jake has been the far bigger dude in all 5 of his pro fights. And as Jake likes to remind us, he's knocked down everyone he's ever fought. But it's one thing to knock down the NBA's most midget player, and another to knock out a legit heavyweight who's fought as high as 278 before. But, and there's always a but with a Jake Paul fight, Rahman is still at a serious disadvantage despite his larger frame. I mean, the guy's got 1 month to prepare for this fight. 1 month. And if you ask Hasim Sr., preparation isn't exactly old Junior's strength.
My son has really underperformed and underprepared for pretty much all of his fights.
Yikes! Imagine your own Faja roasting you like that at MSG. Just brutal, man. Anyway, he's also got to cut down to 200 pounds in a month's time. Unless Rahman is
he's a runner, he's a track star.
That's a tough cut, especially considering he stopped the scales at 224 in his most recent fight back in April. And on top of that, Paul's camp slapped a rehydration clause, meaning Rahman can only gain 15 pounds between Friday's first weigh-in and the second one the morning of fight night. Hasim himself called it a straight-up handicap.
Don't forget you gotta stack that.
And that's what I'm proving.
You try to bring me down to cruiserweight and then put a rehydration clause in the contract. Don't forget about none of that.
Mans ain't wrong either. Generally speaking, a bad cut has a negative impact on a fighter's endurance, their speed and reaction times, and yes, their chin. Maybe Paul can't knock out Rahman when the big man is 100% preparation and weight-wise. But with a bad cut, a shortened training camp, Hasim might come in at like 75% capacity. And if so, all of a sudden, it becomes entirely plausible that his candy ass gets dropped to the canvas. In fact, that's exactly what I'm betting happens. Jake Paul adds Hasim Rahman Jr. to his highlight reel with a KO finish. Let me add one thing before the reply guys go off on me in the comments section. This isn't a controversial pick. Not if you look at the betting odds. Jake, right now, is minus 240 to win this fight, according to offshore sports books. And if I could be a stats nerd for just one moment, at those odds, the implied probability that Jake Paul wins is 69.1%.
Nice.
Look, I'm actually stunned how much of a betting favorite Jake Paul is right now. He's favored more now than he was against Ben Askren and Woodley 1. Either bookies are just valuing Paul's in-ring improvement that much, or they think Rahman is a cherry-picked jabroni, or a little bit of both, which is the camp that I fall into. As a YouTuber who's always right, never wrong with my betting picks, well, except that one time, I can tell you with 96.69% confidence, Jake Paul has got this W in the bag. And when he does, I'ma be $500 richer. Because whether you want to admit it or you don't, what we are witnessing is the second coming of Muhammad Ali.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
After this fight, Ali 2.0 is gonna finally beat Tommy Fumbles, as I predicted in these videos, which you gotta watch next.